Hi, this is Lynn from Alamosa Quote Company, and today I'm going to show you a very easy beginner level project. It is a pillowcase. This method of doing a pillowcase has no raw edges inside, so it's great if you actually want to use your pillowcase and you're going to wash it regularly with your sheets and that sort of thing. So let's get started. And there will be a link down in the description to a written pattern if you want one, but you don't need a written pattern. I'm going to show you everything you need to know in this video. So what do you need? Well, basically you need a yard of fabric. You need a quarter yard for your cuff, and you need 3/4 of a yard for the body of your pillowcase. If you're going to make a king size pillowcase, quarter yard for cuff, and do a yard for the body. The method is the same, whatever size pillowcase you're making here. Okay, you can put all kinds of little accent strips or rickrack or pom-pom fringe or lace or prairie points or piping or whatever. You can do whatever you want in between the cuff and the body, but I'm just going to show you how to make a simple pillowcase, nothing fancy. All right, so I have my cuff fabric and I have the fabric for the body of my pillow. And step one, my body fabric is directional. Okay, it's got these cute dogs on it. So for me, I like to put the cuff on the heads if it's directional. Um, but do whatever you want. It's your pillowcase. So step one is going to be, and these are just, they're squared up and cut, but I have not cut the salve edges off. We will cut the salve edges off, but wait, all right? Don't do that. You're going to have to square it up anyway, so, you can cut the salve edges off and then sew, and then you have to square it up, or you can just sew and then square it up and cut the salve edges off at the same time. Economy of motion, all right? It's faster. So step one is to find the top edge or whatever edge of your body that you want joined to the cuff, and you want to sew the cuff fabric to the body fabric, and I'm going to do less than 1/4 inch seam. This is just going to baste them on. Some tell you to pin, and you do this sewing all in one step. My method, we're going to sew the same seam a couple times. It's just easier than pinning because you're poking yourself and everything like that. So we're just going to hold them together and sew it with less than 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, I have my 1/4 inch foot on my machine because I usually do. Probably just about any foot's going to work. I mean, not your free motion foot or anything like that, but whatever foot you've got is going to work. And I'm going to I've got them right sides together, and I'm sewing with less than 1/4 inch seam. This doesn't have to be really good stitching. It doesn't have to be super straight. As long as it's less than 1/4 inch, it's not going to show. We're just trying to get these two pieces joined on this one side so that we can do the next step. You could pin this if you wanted. I'm not a pinner. I just line up as far as I can, put my finger there, and sew. Okay, we have sewn with just something that's less than a quarter. Okay, now is where this is the weird part. Okay, I'm going to change cameras so that you can see better, but this is where the magic happens. Okay, so lay it down so that the seam you just sewed is away from you and the body of your fabric is down here. Now what you need to do, this is the weird part, is we're going to take this piece, the body, and we're going to roll it up. Okay, I'm rolling it up. You're going to roll that up so that it will go inside the cuff, and then the cuff will wrap around to the other side here. And here I probably am going to put some pins in it. Okay, and then we're going to sew again with a 1/4 of an inch seam. So that's what I need to do. You're just going to have to bear with me while I do this. And I like to just sort of start folding it like this. Move this up out of the way. My other edge is not cooperating. There we go. Fold it up. Okay. And then we're going to take this, flip it around, and pin it. You don't have to pin, you don't have to be crazy with your pins, but I like to pin it because we've got this all inside here, and I want to make sure that that is not going to get sewn in to the next seam. We need that to be loose. Okay, so it looks like this. Kind of strange looking. The body is all rolled up inside. So this is where this technique gets the name. It's called the burrito pillowcase method, the hot dog pillowcase method, the taco pillowcase method. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, this is it. So now the next step is we're going to take it back. We're going to re-sew this seam, but we're going to do it with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance this time. Okay, so here we go. So in this same seam again. Again, this time with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I'm sorry, I should have told you to back stitch at the when we started. I didn't. I'm gonna go back and do that right now. The next step can be a little bit hard on that seam, so we should back stitch. Okay, seam's all sewn. Twice. Okay, but on this side it's just one time. Okay, now's the magic. Okay, we've got our sewn tube. Now's where the magic happens. What you need to do is you need to pull the body out of the cuff. Do it gently. Once you get about halfway done, it gets a lot easier. Okay, so now you have the cuff attached to the body. It's now all one piece. I recommend at this point that you iron. Okay, we're going to iron this, iron it nice. If you want to, you can top stitch across there. I never do, but you can if you want to. Um, and then we'll sew up the pillowcase. Okay, we're over halfway done at this point. That was the hard part. Okay, so now we're going to iron this. And I put my thumb in here and pull up a little bit so that I'm not ironing a crease, and then just keep tugging. Tug from the front and from the back, and just go all the way along. Oh, my iron's not quite hot yet. I saw the green light and I got excited, but okay, it's getting hotter. Hot enough anyway. And I keep pulling so I'm not ironing a crease. And we'll check the other side before we do the next step. Okay, let's look at the other side, make sure. Yep, see, this is what happens. It doesn't press. You get little puckers because you didn't get it all the way. And this time I'm going to go all the way up. Oh, I did a better job on this end. It's okay, until you've sewn it, doesn't really matter. We can fix it. Okay, now we need to cut the salve edges off. And I'm going to take you over to a bigger cutting surface and we'll cut the salve edges off. Okay, line up the salve edges. And then I'm going to fold it again. So I've got my salve edges all lined up here. And I'm going to cut them all off at once. Now I'm going to use the lines on my ruler to, let's see, can you see it? I'm going to use the lines. This ruler is old. Lines are kind of worn off, but I'm lining up one of the lines on the ruler with that folded edge to make sure I get it straight. And then I'm also going to line it up. I'm also lining up a line right down here with the fold of the cuff. Cut that off. I'm going to open it back up. Okay. And we're going to do a French seam so that we can have concealed edges. So since this is kind of big, I'm going to put a couple pins. Okay, and the way a French seam works is, we're going to sew the seam twice. So first, you have them wrong sides together, right side out, and we're going to sew a narrow seam. So again, I'm going to do something less than 1/4 of an inch. Then we're going to turn this wrong side out, press it nice, and we're going to sew it again with 1/4 of an inch seam. And then when we turn it back right side out again, there'll be no raw edges, and that is a French seam. Okay, I have my sewing machine set so that when I stop sewing, it will stop with needle down. If you have the ability to do that on your machine, do that right now before you start. I'm going to start stitching here, and I am going to back stitch because we're going to be turning this. So I'm back stitching right there. And I'm sewing with less than 1/4 of an inch seam. When you get right here where the join is between the body and the cuff, that's kind of thick. So just be aware, you might want to go slow. You might have to help your machine just a tad. But if you have a good needle and a good machine, you should have no problems. Okay, I'm coming to the corner. And I'm going to stop before I get to the corner there with the needle down. I'm going to just raise my foot a little bit, pivot, and keep sewing. Okay, I'm not going to backstitch here because this is not a stress point. It doesn't really need it. I did backstitch when we started up here because I'm going to be turning this and it could be tugging a little bit and could come out. So now I'm going to take the pins out and I'm going to turn this right side or wrong side out rather, and I'm going to press everything nice. Line up your fabric under there. Back stitch. Okay, again, this is really thick right here, so just go slowly. And I seem to be doing a little wider than a 1/4 inch seam. I'm not quite to 3/8 because that's right there. So I don't know, somewhere between a 1/4 and 3/8. The seam allowance is not crucial here. So I'm going to try to stop at the corner, leave needle down, turn. And I'm going to backstitch right here at the finish. Just because that's the end. And then I'll meet you around and we'll turn this right side out and we're done. Okay, it's all sewn. The only thing to do is turn it right side out. Again, you might want your poker. If you're giving this as a gift, you might want to give it a good press again before you gift it. But there you go. Cute as a button. Cute as a pillowcase. So, burrito pillowcase. Thanks for watching.